Jordan wants to know
Okay.
what the login info is. What does that mean?
Well, you said I emailed the Zoom login to his email and he asked, where's the login info? And so now we're going to say, check your email. You know, there was a time where I was wondering if Jordan knew how to read because we were playing this video game once and like he was playing it and I was playing it, you know, alternating. And he said, I'm lost here. I don't know where to go. And I said, what do you mean you don't know where to go? And he's like, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. And I said, they tell you where to go. He's like, no, they didn't. I was like, did you read like what they say? He's like, oh no, I don't read what they say. And I'm like, okay.
That sounds like a Jordan thing though. Like I feel like he doesn't read the instructions either when he's like putting something together. He's like, I'll just figure it out. So I could see him breezing through the instructions on a video game.
Okay, I agree too, but like with the video game, you're reading it also for like the story.
Jordan's
We
not there
can,
for the story.
yeah, he's not there for the story. He's about to sign on, so we can ask him now. Jordan, yeah,
What's up?
You're just in time.
just in time. I was telling,
I'm excessive. Just
yeah,
in time, fictional character.
just in time. So I was sharing a memory with Chrissy. You and I were playing a video game way back in the day in the Hollywood house. And I remember we were in like the same area or whatever. And you said, how did you know where to go in this one particular spot? And I said, what do you mean? They just like tell you what to do. And you're like, no, they don't. I said, yeah. I was like, did you read like what they were telling you? And you said, I don't read. I don't read what they say. So then I was like, does Jordan read it all? So now's your time.
Sometimes.
Now's your time to defend yourself.
Most of the time I skip through the instructions and try and figure it out, but
That's what I said you'd do.
usually I can figure things out pretty well.
So how does that work with your job as an engineer?
Building bridges. You get all the materials from IKEA.
Yeah,
I can figure it out.
Mostly through pictures. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, Jordan, if you were to make up a language, would you go to like a hieroglyphics? Or would you still use
language.
Yeah, like a written language?
No, honestly, I do a lot of reading for like work purposes and things like that. But if I were to make up a language, what would I do? Just telekinetics. He'll just think something, and then the other person will
We'll just
absorb it.
know.
We'll just engineer the future.
The last thing I need are people reading my thoughts because my face already gives most of it away, and that already gets me in enough trouble.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't do hieroglyphics. I'm bad enough just writing letters out, so trying to actually write out hieroglyphics would be awful.
That's
Good point.
true.
That wouldn't work.
Wow. Has it happened?
I think so.
We have all 4 infinity stones here.
This might be the last episode of Bookalicious. I don't know that we're gonna be able to top this.
We'll just keep posting this one. Rerun.
We're recording. I don't think Infinity Stones is a very good way to describe the 4 of us gathering because there's more than 4 Infinity Stones.
Well,
Out of Infinity Stones?
how many were there? 5?
5 or 6.
Okay. Well, in this world of Bookalicious, there's only 4.
So
And when
now-
we all get together, it doesn't result in half of us dying.
4 founders of Hogwarts. Mount Rushmore is 4. 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
We could be the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I recently found out that Mount Rushmore, it actually has a very sad history. It used to be this like Native Americans like That was like their primary religious area. And then the US government, I guess, like rounded up all of the natives, put them in a camp, and then blew up their like shrine and then put the president's faces on
Oh my
it.
gosh.
They wrote
And,
America.
Yeah, they're like, this is America now. This is your God, us. And I was like, oh my God, that's kind of terrible, actually. Yeah.
So we won't choose that as our analogy.
Yeah, so I don't want to be associated with Mount Rushmore.
We could be the
Okay,
Pevensie children.
fine.
Okay, so Chrissy, I asked in the first episode, you were cruising around in your 1-bedroom cabin with your mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and husband. Terrifying. How would you order the children, the Pevensie children, to us? What would be like your mapping?
I thought you guys got it exactly right. I mean, what you guys said, I was like, that's what I was thinking too. Like, Sam seems most like Peter. I seem most like Lucy, just going along, trusting old centaurs in their tea rooms. And we don't really know much about Susan in this book. Like, she doesn't have a ton going on. I don't know. I could see you and Jordan kind of flip-flopping between a mix of like Susan and Edmund vibes going on.
As an adult, I feel more like Susan because the very few things that she does say, they always seem to make sense. Where she's like, let's go home. This is weird.
She's really sensible.
Yeah, she seems very sensible. As a kid, I think I was 100% Edmund.
What do you think, Jordan?
I think we're both still Edmund.
But
But Edmund
Yeah.
turns out great. There's Edmund 1 and Edmund 2.
Yeah, exactly. He gets redeemed.
Yeah.
they have to literally kill him. I guess it's supposed to be like born again, maybe. He dies and he comes back and he's not like hormonal anymore. They're like, he's not rotten like he used to be at school. He's not smoking anymore. He's a good boy now. So,
We could all use that in middle school.
yeah. Any crazy
I'm a
things
real boy.
going? Yes. Jordan, we didn't get an update on you last time because you had to leave. So give us the quick 411. What's going on in your world?
What is going on in my world? We've had lots of visitors over the last couple of weeks and still ongoing. So, oh yeah, we had the Carbies come over for Christmas, and then mom and dad came after Christmas. And we got some BMX friends staying with us. There's 2 big BMX races next weekend and the weekend after. So, which is it's been fun, been eventful.
Are you guys settling into Florida life?
Oh yeah, Florida life is much better in this part of Florida than South Florida. I think everyone should move to the west coast of Florida. It's great.
Okay, I lived there for like almost 10 years and no one bothered to visit me except for Sam one time. Now you want me to move back.
We were all just so poor then, Candy. We had no money to do anything.
I guess that's true.
You're talking about $100 in gas to go there and back, especially at that time of life. $4
That's true.
gas.
So
We're in the middle
Andrew,
of- we're all in college.
so I went to Tampa for the holidays and I
Getting-
knew,
Yes.
I know. I didn't make the 3-hour drive. We were almost there.
hour?
But no, because they actually live in Newport Richey, which is a suburb of Atlanta or of Tampa. So it's a little bit further. We did map it. But
About
anyway,
3 hours.
yeah, it was about 3 hours. So we were in Newport Richey, Tampa area to visit Andrew's family. And I knew I was in Florida because Andrew and I, we got our morning Starbucks and we were driving out of the Publix Plaza, but we entered this, it was like the craziest thing where you have these people trying to back out of their parking spots, but the people coming in won't let them back out. So then we entered this never ending gridlock of no one letting anyone go. We were stuck there. And
That sounds right.
eventually, yeah, finally, someone was able to go by and we were able to get out of it. But I was like, this is the most Florida thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
But
Well,
West Florida's much
yeah.
nicer. Yeah.
the median age of where we live is 65, so there's not a whole lot happening.
They're on the Holland America of Florida. Me and Candy talked about in our last episode. We went on the Holland America cruise, and it's like for retired people. And Candy was saying she went on the Carnival cruise, which was for all the party people. And Miami's
Mhm.
Carnival, West Coast is Holland America. You want to live in Holland America.
Chrissy, was the last time you recorded an episode with Candy like 5 weeks ago?
No, it was yesterday. We did 2 in 1. And I listened to your last episode and you said I wasn't dedicated.
You're not.
After all I've done for this company.
It's
Built a-
Jordan's company. We gave it to him last
That's
time.
right. He's the owner.
I won the bet.
Yeah.
Well, the owners had no complaints over my attendance, my performance. Candy and I also had a plan that during our family reunion in February, we should have a reunion episode, meaning we do this again, but we're actually in the same place.
Yeah.
What book do you want to record?
I was thinking we could do a short story, maybe like a Kurt Vonnegut short story. Harrison Bergeron.
I listened to a fantastic little short story, and what was it called? It was about paper. Anyways, I'll send it to y'all, and we should read that. It's about family.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm
That
open
does
to that.
sound good. Sam's sneakily making all the executive decisions for Bookalicious. He chose Chronicles of
It's not that
Narnia,
sneaky.
chose paper. We think Jordan's in charge, but Sam's the one who's been calling all the shots. He's trying to get me fired.
I know. We can't let Sam be on the board with any voting shares. He'll vote us right out, Chrissy.
Listen, I'm excited to steal your 15 listeners on Bookalytics.
Yeah. Okay, so I did have a fun little game for us. I don't know if you
Oh.
guys want to play it.
They don't have a choice.
But-
We're in charge.
Talking
Okay,
to the
well,
of course we want to play a game.
okay. So I was thinking we could all decide what our school superlatives would be. So like most funny or this or that. So I'm just going to list out the superlatives on this random website that I just found.
Mm.
And I just want to hear what you guys think. Okay. Math wizard. Who would be voted math wizard?
Jordan. It's my
Jordan.
vote.
Jordan actually taught me math because I didn't do math for 2 years. And then it came out when I went to high school and I didn't know what a negative number was. And so he got me caught up.
I thought Chris did that also.
Yeah, he did when I was in elementary school. Very helpful.
Oh my
Also
gosh.
taught Deja
Okay.
and Jenna. So
Jordan starts a program called Girls Are Bad at Math, and all he does is or teach the women in his life math. Okay, future president.
I would say Candy, except she's not going to leave her house to go campaign. So Chrissy,
Me?
because she's been given every advantage in life.
Chrissy couldn't even decide. She can't make one decision, let alone be president. No,
It's
out.
perfect.
I
I'd
was
always be on both sides.
very bipartisan. I was thinking Sam. Jordan, what do you think?
I think it's Candy. I think Candy's the next president.
I would see. I
For a
could see
president of the United
Sam,
States or a different kind of president. What are we talking about here?
We're just future
president of Bookalicious.
No, of the United States of America.
Well, you know,
I
Joe
am reading
Biden won
a biography on Abraham Lincoln.
Sam's prepping.
Oh, okay. What were you gonna say, Jordan?
said Joe Biden won the election and he didn't get out to campaign. So I don't know if that's actually a requirement these days.
You
I
just
might-
have to put in 60 years into politics. That's all.
Okay, so it sounds like this is undetermined. We have a few more to go through. The Bookworm Award.
Chrissy.
Sam.
Sam. Sam, what
Well,
say you? You or
I-
Chrissy?
I don't know. You're the one who started a podcast about books.
We're the ones who've only read one book in a year.
Okay.
Okay, most energetic.
Oh wait, did we ever decide that one?
The Bookworm?
Yeah.
It's a tie.
Oh,
You
it's a
and
tie.
Sam.
Okay, sure, it's a tie.
There's only 4 of us. We're going to get into a lot of gridlock, so we can't really sit here. Okay, most energetic.
Candy.
I would say me, which is crazy because I nap every single day. So that really lets you guys know where your energy levels are at.
You gotta power up.
Yep. Okay. Most creative.
Candy has a lot of nice drawings.
I'm thinking it's me again. I don't want to keep saying it's me, but I do want to say it's me. Sam, Jordan, any dissenting views?
It's me.
I'll go with Chrissy.
Oh!
Go Chrissy.
What can I say?
Okay, best dancer.
Chrissy.
Definitely Chrissy.
Only in ballet, but I think I'll still take it for any genre.
The competition is not stiff.
I was gonna say, like,
Actually, the competition is kind of stiff.
That's the issue.
Competition is flaccid. That's what it is.
Ugh.
oh God. Okay, class clown.
Don't know. Is that me? Or Sam? Or Candy?
I think we're all class clown.
I know. I think the silence is because any of us could be the class clown.
We're all class clown. Okay, most enthusiastic learner. I think Sam.
Probably me.
I was thinking me or Sam, but I'll go Sam. I don't want to vote for myself.
You can totally vote for yourself.
Chrissy, just because she's the pursuing the most
Most
what's-
tiny
High
school.
schooling.
Most tiny school
Yeah.
award.
Yeah, Chrissy's going to be getting her PhD soon, Sam. So she's going to
We'll
outrank
see.
you. We'll have to
I
call her
know.
Dr. Chrissy.
You'll have to.
It'll be a
Okay.
requirement.
All right, this one's easy. Best helper.
Chrissy.
Chrissy. She is the Sessa personal assistant for the whole clan.
Poor Chrissy.
I know. All right, best attendance.
Attendance.
Not me.
Andy. She's the only one who hasn't missed an episode.
I know. Okay, best storyteller.
Say Sam.
I thought were Candy or Sam.
Yeah, I think we're both good storytellers, Sam.
Sorry, Jordan, we're out of the race.
I was never in that race.
Okay, here's one, and it's probably going to cause a lot of division amongst the group. Best person.
All of us. 4-way tie.
No, it's easily Chrissy.
It's great.
She's the one who got mom and dad's full love.
Full. I know. It turned her into the best. What we would have gotten if we didn't have to split all of our assets, we could have been Chrissy.
Oh my gosh.
But that's why I feel like Sam, he learned how to read. Jordan, he learned how to add. Me, average. Chrissy, she can add and read. She's the best at everything.
How many private colleges have you gone to, Chrissy, at this point?
Oh no. Don't
How
say it.
How many private colleges have the rest of us gone to combined?
Was your seminary private?
Yeah, that's
Gotta be
private.
right.
It's not public. So that's one.
So we're tied. from ones we've
No, you've gone
graduated
to 2.
from. I haven't graduated from
And you have your eyes set on a 3rd.
it.
And you went to high school at a private school.
Yeah. Yeah, Chrissy. You don't know what it's like to be
Candy-
with the public.
Have you been enrolled in any private colleges, like for your master's or anything that you've
Georgia
done?
Tech. Isn't Georgia Tech private?
No, it's a public institute.
Is it
baby.
really?
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? I needed the extra help.
You couldn't be around the pores.
Yeah. I needed special education.
So, Chrissy, do you have your master's now?
No, in May.
May.
I'll be a
Oh, okay.
master.
So come in May, I'll be the least educated one of us. I'm educated in different ways
On the streets.
on the streets.
Well, I've got a solid hour, so we should get started.
All right. We're done with the game. Game's over.
Good game.
Well, this
good
was
game.
fun. I think we should just skip Bookalicious if you're good with it.
Hate to
Yeah, I'm
say
fine
it,
with
but
that.
think that's the right choice.
Okay. So we are going to get right into The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We are going to finish the book, which is chapters 12 through 17. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do our introduction.
Welcome to Bookalicious, a podcast where 2 sisters and 2 brothers all talk about books. I'm Chrissy.
I'm Candice.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we're finishing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Woo!
Woohoo!
Yay.
Okay, so we are picking up with chapter 12, which is Peter's first battle. So my summary, it's pretty long. It's just going to kind of go over the whole chapter. So the Pevensie children and the beavers continue their journey within the past half day. Sorry. The Pevensie children and the beavers continue their journey. And within the past half day, the season went from January to May. So we are approaching summer. Because everything is so warm, they figured that the witch's sled wouldn't work. And so they turned their journey into a leisurely jaunt. And they're taking their time, taking naps when needed. They get to the stone table and it looks like Stonehenge, and there was already pavilions and a camp with music playing and lots of magic animals. They see Aslan, who's both beautiful and terrifying. Peter greets Aslan and wonders where Edmund is, and Aslan wonders where Edmund is. Peter takes responsibility for being cross with Edmund and explains that's part of the reason why he went astray. Lucy asks Aslan to save Edmund. I did note that she did not mention Mr. Tumnus. Susan and Lucy do the women's work of cooking dinner while Peter is taken to look at his castle with Aslan and discuss man-things of strategy. Aslan tells Peter that since he's the firstborn, he'll be the High King over all his siblings. And while he's telling him this and promising all these good things, Susan's horn goes off, indicating that there has been invaders in the camp. Peter and Aslan rush back and they see that the witch's wolves have indeed infiltrated the camp and started attacking people. Peter, who has never wielded a sword, uses the sword that Father Christmas gave him, rushes to the wolf, and kills him. Susan comes down from a tree that she was hiding in, and she and Peter begin to cry and kiss. One wolf escapes to tell the witch what happened, and Peter is crowned Sir Peter's Wolfbane, and Aslan tells him to wipe his sword. So any thoughts in this chapter?
A lot of things that happened in one chapter.
It was, yes.
This was the busiest one of them all, I think.
These next couple ones, it's like every sentence is just plot, 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 plot.
We're not wasting time here, people.
No. C.S. Lewis would not approve of Bookalicious, where all we do is waste time. He would not like that.
Did anyone else underline the word pavilion? Pavilion
Yes.
in this chapter?
Chrissy, do you care to share why you would underline that?
Well, because Sam's the bookworm, he learned a lot of his words from reading and not from hearing them. And so he came across a word like pavilion, but I guess he missed the I's. We pronounce it pavilion, which I think we all have an experience like that. But anyway, so he thought the word was pavilion for a while.
A long time. We
For
were
a
at the
very long
park.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the park and you were like 15 and you're like, let's go to the pavilion. And we were all like, what? What?
But what made it funny was that the rest of us knew what the word was or how to pronounce it. It didn't. So it's opposite day, I guess, that day.
Right?
Sam, how did it feel to be the least smart one in the group for those 5 minutes?
It was a novel feeling, one I have not felt since.
Fair enough. Okay, so one of the things that I underlined was, again, kind of this like gender discrimination that's happening with Aslan and all of Narnia, where quite literally they send the women off to do women's work. And then he takes Peter aside to tell Peter about strategy and plans and future. And I don't know, it's just something that I observed.
Well, that's because C.S. Lewis didn't have time to waste. You got to get to it.
So no time to explain it to the women.
Yeah.
They'll never get it. They haven't learned how to add yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys talked about that in the last episodes, and I think it could be read that way, and I kind of see it like that too. But I think it could also be like everyone has their special role. And I feel like in later chapters, Susan and Lucy have special roles that like the boys don't get to do. But it is very
agree.
clear, yeah, that the boys get to do strategy. And
They
fight.
all do have specific gender roles, Chrissy. I agree with you.
Susan's gift was a bow, right?
Yeah.
A bow and a horn.
A bow and a horn.
Yeah, so she uses the horn, and Santa Claus said, anytime you blow this horn, people are going to come out and help you.
Mm-hmm.
So did y'all find it a little unbelievable that Peter, who has never wielded a sword, who said it was so heavy, first time unsheathing it, immediately starts running with it and kills this supposedly like very scary, strong wolf?
I think this is a sign of how terrible the minions actually are. They have no strength whatsoever. I don't think this speaks to Peter so much as like how everybody should have just taken down the witch from before.
It really just does seem like it's a bunch of like Oompa Loompas. And then you have the witch, and then you have Aslan. And now these children.
It's very true.
Sam, I was wondering, because when they were describing the stone table, how to me it was reading was that it was kind of like Stonehenge. Do you have any Lewis nuggets that explain what the stone table is supposed to represent?
Well, I think allegorically, the closest thing that it represents is the law, right? Think like the 10 Commandments on stone tablets. I think that is probably the closest, because if you think about it in that way, the reason why the witch gets Edmund is because he has broken the law, right? If that makes sense. So I think that's probably the closest one you can get to.
I think that makes sense. I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be exactly. I was thinking Stonehenge, but I think what you're saying with the 10 Commandments makes no sense. If you guys are good. Oh,
I was just going to say, when we get to a part where Aslan comes back from the dead, I think I'll be able to really make my point.
Okay, cool. So let's go to chapter 13, and this is titled Deep Magic from the Dawn of Time. So now we're changing perspectives, and now we're looking at Edmund. So while his siblings are having a grand time, having a little party and just having a lot of fun, Edmund is having a terrible time with the witch. And the witch has a good idea to just kill Edmund so that there are only 3 children. And I say, good job. She should have started with that. But she did come to the right strategy. The dwarf suggests that they use Edmund as a bargaining chip but she's like, nope, we're just going to kill him anyway. So the witch rallies all of her minions to fight against Aslan and the Pevensie children. Instead of killing Edmund with her magic, she has her dwarf sharpen up his knife to kill him, cut off his head. But while he's sharpening his knife, Edmund is rescued by Team Aslan. The witch and the dwarf escape all of the hullabaloo because she has a new power we just found out about where she can disguise herself as a boulder. The next morning, the 3 Pevensie children wake up from their luxurious pillow bed to a delicious breakfast, and then they see Edmund and Aslan walking around. Aslan tells the children that Edmund is back and to not talk about his treachery. Edmund gives a simple apology. He says, "I'm sorry," and the children say, "It's okay, you're forgiven." A leopard shows up with the message from the witch. And the witch reminds Aslan of the deep magic, and since Edmund ate her Turkish delights, he belongs to her. So she needs to have blood in order to trade for Edmund. Susan, smartly, tries to convince Aslan to do something to work against the deep magic, but Aslan just gives her a frown and they never bring it up again. Aslan and the witch discuss on their own, and they come up with a trade, but Aslan doesn't say what the trade is. And that is chapter 13.
Is it the next chapter that he goes to his death?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, Sam. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. My bad, people.
Why do you think the witch didn't just kill Edmund right away? Does she not have that power? Can she only turn people to stone?
Well, so I don't think she anticipated Aslan coming. So if she would have factored that into her plans, she may have killed him on sight. But she was playing her cards close to the vest, and she didn't want to use moves while she could hold on to them and wait for the best move. That's how I interpret it, right? Because the time from spring coming to Edmund getting rescued is very short. But she
Honestly,
does.
time at Narnia is so crazy, it might have only been 10 minutes.
Could have been.
We don't know.
For real. I mean, we don't know how long, but because she was thinking about using him to lure the other children because she wants to get all 4 together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she isn't actually sure that only 3 of them would actually stop that blessing kind of thing or whatever, the magic. So she wants to kill all 4.
Well, that makes sense. So
Dylan's
she's kind of
never-
thinking about it.
Dylan's never seemed to kill anyone quickly when it's part of the plot line, you know?
No, they don't.
No. If you're a MacGuffin, bam, dead. You're like an important person for the plot, takes forever. And what I would
Don't
say about
even
good people, yeah, and good people, they never verify that their kills are dead.
You got to double tap.
You have the double tap. You've got to maybe cut off the head, take it with you, just make sure. But they don't ever do that. Okay, couple call outs. First thing is the leopard that shows up with a message from the witch. Aslan calls the leopard son of earth. And I put a lot of question marks because
you mean the dwarf?
The leopard.
No, it was a
No,
dwarf.
it's dwarf.
Oh.
The leopard went away and then the dwarf approached.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says.
Regardless, why are there any sons of earth in Narnia?
Because dwarves are typically in fantasies made from earth or stone or rock or mountain.
Oh, I was thinking like planet Earth.
No.
Okay.
I think it is capitalized here just as like a proper title. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, what planet are we on? I guess that would make sense as like an element. Okay.
Well, we never
that
left
has
the wardrobe, so we're still on Earth.
They never stole
That's
the
true,
the
Jordan.
coats.
They didn't steal his clothes because they're still in the wardrobe.
That's right. Okay, my other call out is I thought it was very odd that Aslan tells the children to never ask him about his treachery and be like, just pretend like it never happened. Let's just move on. Don't talk about it. That seems like very bad advice. Having been someone who's gone to a lot of therapy, and it's like, if you don't talk about that stuff, what ends up happening is that it manifests itself into like a different type of thing. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the children should have, in a perfect world, had a discussion about it and hashed it out, or should they just been like, it's all okay, it's water under the bridge?
Do you think the children could have had an adult, mature conversation about it? Everything I know about these children is they cannot do anything. They're idiots.
Okay, let's assume they had the mental capacity. We're assuming that they're people, right? And it's like, even if I was like, how old is Peter? He's probably like 12 or 13.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I
Sure.
just feel like I've had a lot of internalized issues by not talking about it, even as a kid. And so, like, assuming that they don't have like the mental capacity.
Well, he also knows that they're gonna get their closure when it's all said and done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's more of like, we're not going to talk about it now. One, because nothing they can say is going to change what's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And two, they are going to get that closure, because that's a problem that you're talking about, right? Is not having that
Right.
closure. And he
Mhm.
knows that's going to happen anyways, because he knows what's going to happen in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, like as a parent, when you're talking to your kids, especially younger kids, and it's like you don't always have the ability, the time, the stamina to explain, here's everything that needs to happen and why it needs to happen and in this certain order. Sometimes it's just, this is how it's going to be, because that's what the situation calls for, right?
And I think, to Sam's point, these children seem just so unintellectual. Aslan would probably have to explain it 25 times. And he just does not have the time for that, to your point.
Right.
I mean, there's also, of course, like an element of Narnia magic too, where it doesn't appear that they feel like they're bottling something up or neglecting a conversation. Like some sort of magic is working to where they're like understanding and are like accepting Edmund and happy that he's here. I think they also feel like Aslan has kind of taken care of everything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and part of it might be for their own protection too, because like if they find out, okay, Aslan is going to give himself up because of Edmund, what are these children going to try and do behind the scenes to stop it, right? And are they going to then endanger themselves or other people in the process?
Mm-hmm.
Because they might be like, no, we can't allow this to happen. We need to go kill the witch, right? And sneak off in the middle of the night, and all four of them go over there and try and be heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Aslan knows that would be a very wrong move.
I think that the most likely explanation is that Lewis didn't want to write anything more, and he wrote as little as possible.
That's the motto.
He might have been on a deadline. We don't know.
This guy was not interested in explaining things. He is going boom, boom, boom. I will also say that I thought it was so their show, don't tell, right? That is the
Mhm.
best way with storytelling. And with books, it's very hard because you can't show anything without telling, so to speak. But he does a really great job bringing in how the deep magic works
Mhm.
with the witch, right?
When
Yes.
do we? I'm sorry, keep going.
No, I'm just saying he did a really great job with explaining the deep magic and this very important plot point. I think in a very economical way.
At this point in the story, has it already been explained what his deal is? Or as a reader, you're not sure. I forget.
You don't know. We don't know what the deal is, but I think what Sam's talking about is because, like, you have this deep magic thing. The witch just shows up. She's like, do you know about the deep magic? And then Aslan's like, let's pretend like I had forgotten. Go ahead and tell me. And he's being like kind of sassy with her. And then she's explains it, which it's not for Aslan, it's for us. So we just know that she needs to have Edmund's life is hers, and she needs to have blood in exchange. but we don't know anymore of what the
Right.
deal was.
We
Right.
need to know all of that for the rest, or for what Aslan does next to make sense. And the way he comes about explaining that in the book is, I think, a very smart way to go about it, right?
Right.
I agree. A quick change of topics. Going back to Edmund's betrayal, Peter tells Aslan in the previous chapter that he feels partially responsible for Edmund turning. Do you think that that is correct? Do you think Edmund would have turned regardless if Peter had been nicer to him?
He may not. I think Edmund was on the fence, right? He even talked like earlier in the book. It said like he was kind of, he wasn't quite made up to go to her. And I think there is a reality in which if Peter is kind to Edmund, Edmund hangs around long enough for them to like get on with each other.
Yeah, I could see that. And Peter's the older sibling, so I'm sure he feels some sort of responsibility of like being the bigger person and kind of like building the bridge, maybe, or helping like reconcile Edmund and Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel like there was a similar type of scenario, Sam, as the eldest in our childhood, where maybe you're like, oh, if I had been nicer to one of the youngers?
Sam tells all.
Yeah.
Well, yes, actually, I remember, Candy, when you were born, and I don't
Going way
know if
back.
this is going way back. And I don't know if this was like immediately after you had gotten home or this was a couple days after, but Jordan's like 2, right? At this point, actually probably less than 2, 20 months or something like that. And he was chasing me around, and I was getting annoyed that he was chasing me around. And I said to him, "Stop following me." And then Jordan, like, he's just a little kid, and Jordan stops following me, and then I like immediately regretted it. I was like, I just
Aw.
broke something that I'm not going to get back.
Oh.
Poor Jordan. He's like, I'm never going to talk now. You changed his whole trajectory. Jordan
What
might know
can I
how to
say?
read if it wasn't for that.
It could have. Could have.
He only knows how to add. I think I had a similar type of instance with Chrissy, where she was just like my little shadow, and I would just be like, "Get away from me!" And then like they would, and you're like,
I kind of
you're in
miss
the.
him.
It's not that you miss them; you're actually glad that they're gone, but you're like, I feel bad that they had so much like earnest and happiness being around me, and now I made them sad, and that doesn't make me feel better. It just makes me feel worse in a different way now.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's tough to be 10 and to know how to deal with that.
Yeah. Okay. Any more thoughts on chapter 13?
No. Like,
All right.
Yeah. No.
As I say, we're going to go into chapter 14, and this is the triumph of the witch. So this is where Aslan, he dies. One of the frustrating parts with this whole chapter is that, and we'll talk about this soon, is that Aslan doesn't tell anyone what's going to happen. He's just being very coy, and so that's kind of an interesting choice. Okay, so right now everyone's camp is at the stone table. But Aslan's like, we all got to move camp and we got to move down the way. And Aslan starts telling Peter what the witch's plans are going to be. So basically, he's just kind of giving her, all right, this is going to happen, and then this, and just kind of walking through the strategy with Peter. Peter's like, why are you telling me all of this? You're going to be here. And Aslan's like, I can't promise that. I just say. Okay. Peter then, he's like, you know what? I have a good suggestion. Why don't we move the camp further down in case she tries to attack us at night? And at this point, Aslan, he's just like so tired and worn out. And he's like, she's not going to attack during the night. Like, have you been listening to anything I said? But he's like, I guess it's a good way to think about it as a warrior. So let's go ahead and do it to placate him. So then they all move. Now everyone's set up the camp again, and it's during the night, and Lucy and Susan can't sleep, so they sneak out of their tent, and they see Aslan walking off on his own, so they follow behind. Aslan immediately hears them following him, and then he asks the girls to hang onto his mane while he walks to the stone table. And once they get close, Aslan asks the girls to stay behind and not be seen. The girls, hearing this, they start crying. They don't even know why they're crying. And then they start kissing Aslan all over, his mane, his nose, his paws, and his great sad eyes. Then Aslan leaves and he walks towards the witch. And the witch has her minions tie him up and shear his mane. Aslan is then mocked, and he's called the little pussums, and they put a muzzle on him. And then all the minions all at once take turns beating Aslan to death, and they make these cords on his body so tight they cut into his skin, and Aslan dies. And that is chapter
Or
14.
Aslan.
Or
Poor
King.
Aslan.
I was imagining a giant king since you guys were talking about king in the last episode.
It's weird to me because it's like on one level you're kind of like Aslan is supposed to be like this Jesus figure, and then on the other one he's supposed to also be like a cat. So it's like if there's a little cat, I could see, oh, you're kissing his fur, and you're like, oh, my little baby.
Well, no,
But
I think
it's weird. Little girls kissing. I don't know. I don't like it.
that part of this is Lewis redoing the Passion of the Christ,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so as part of that, you have the women who like Mary Magdalene, who weeps over Jesus and anoints his feet with oil and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But even that story always kind of gave me a little bit of the ick. Like, why are you kissing his feet? Like, don't kiss feet. I don't know. Maybe that was just at the time. That's what you did.
It's God's feet.
I don't know. Because he's still also, but even then, Jesus is still like a person. I don't know. You guys don't feel like that's like a weird, kind of weird? No?
I get the kind of weird vibes, but I feel like that's maybe just my experience, like reading into it. Like maybe it shouldn't be weird that they're kissing a lion, you know?
If this was a 40-year-old man and you have these little girls and they're like kissing all over him, I don't know. It's just weird to me. I just didn't
but
like
he's
it.
not a man. He's a lion.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so I
would
guess
agree
it's
with you.
okay.
If this was a man who's the representation of the Messiah in the story, I would think that would be strange for the author to write children kissing him, right?
Yeah.
But with it being a lion, I don't see it being an inappropriate or weird like fetish or anything weird like that.
Yeah.
So,
Like it's not a romantic kiss,
Right.
but it's hard to see a kiss as not romantic since that's right.
Lewis is very free with the kisses because Peter and Susan were kissing 2 chapters prior. I'm assuming like on the cheek and stuff, and maybe that's like common.
Right.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine, like, Sam, like if you were in danger and then you were saved, I couldn't imagine me kissing you. I would like we would hug. I feel like that would be what we would do.
Well, somebody else might get the feeling that that is the worst thing on earth.
Yeah.
I think you're just having a cultural response. That's my thought on it.
You're probably right. Okay, any thoughts on Aslan's death, on any of this stuff?
I'll let you all go because I got a lot.
you might as well start it off, Sam.
So
Yeah.
going back to the stone table, right? That was the deep magic, right?
Mhm.
And this has to appease the deep magic. So if you look at this in like a very Christian terms, because that's what's going on here. This is a very Christian, obvious depiction of Jesus from his passion and the preparation for him, all the way with like the girls weeping over him and preparing him essentially for what will be burial. And then you have the witch who ties him up, and you have the whole part where Jesus, goes before and is tortured and not just killed but humiliated, right? So there's that element to it as well. And then if you look at it in terms of the witch binding him up and then killing him, very close, right? Comparison to Jesus on the cross kind of deal. And then eventually he dies. She thinks she wins. And then, that's all she wrote kind of idea. But when you go back to the deeper magic and you think about this as an analogy of Christ going to his death, right? Jesus had to go to die because of the deep magic, but the deeper magic was that in that death, being able to save everyone and make it all better kind of thing. So that's kind of there's the Christian analogy right there.
I think this goes back to what Jordan was saying at the very beginning of where it's like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is very much like one-to-one in terms of the story of Jesus. And I think in this part, it doesn't feel like too heavy-handed, but it does feel like we talked about a little bit, the Trojan horse type of thing, where let's slip in some, Christian theology into children's books.
Do you think though that like he's like slipping it in? I mean, this is just so overt.
Yeah, it's not really a Trojan horse. It's right out there, right?
Well,
Like
if you've never heard the story of Jesus, you wouldn't know.
I guess but I just think that it's very blatant, right? The comparison points. I mean, he's kind of going beat for beat with the passion of Christ.
Jordan, what were you going to say?
No, just it's very blatant. It's not I don't know. I think Trojan horse, I'm thinking like you've disguised this as something that's not, and then have this big reveal, which I guess you can kind of say. I mean, the first half of the book, you don't really see that. I mean, there's definitely, allusions to it and metaphors of different things, but it's not in your face. And then at this point, it becomes in your face about it. But I don't know. I guess Trojan horse, I don't like the term for it in this context.
Because it feels like negative or sneaky.
Yeah, Trojan horse has a negative connotation to it for sure. Which and I don't think this is something. It's not something that someone who. I just don't see someone who's not already a Christian picking up the book and then like discovering it. I don't know.
A third of the world's Christian. I mean, like, and this is so overt that I think the reaction, and this is the problem with our family that Leah hates. She's like, because our family is what Leah says is that we are way too precise. And this is us being psycho precise at the moment.
What do you mean? We're fighting over semantics?
We're fighting over how Trojan horse means, right?
I feel like
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That
sure
is
Andrew
fair.
would say the same.
Yeah,
we're getting yes. He is using a fantasy to convey the story of Jesus, right? He is taking the shell of a fantasy and filling it with Jesus. Whether or not you enjoy that or not probably depends on how much you like Jesus or not, or how much you like books to have any kind of meaning. But even a quote unquote non-meaning is still meaning.
That's a good point. What would you want for him to have included for it to be less Trojan horsey? Do you think, Candy?
Oh, I don't know that anything should have changed. I'm not implying that I would like it different or that I
Mhm.
dislike it. Just one of the critiques on Lewis is that he was a Christian apologist and that he was kind of using his books as a way to kind of get people to Christianity. Which to me, it kind of seems like, yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that was a lot of the purpose of a lot of these books. It wasn't like entirely for like, oh, here's like a nice story. It seems like there's a layer of let us use this to explain Christianity very simply to children, which is fine, but it just means that it's a different type of book than say like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something where it's like purely for the story.
But see, that's my point. Now, this is a different thing. But I would make the argument that no story is free of bias, perspective, or view, right? I think
For
you can't get
sure.
away from it.
No. And that's 100% correct. And I agree with that. Chrissy and I are doing lessons in chemistry and we are getting plenty of Bonnie Garmus's ideology and propaganda like that. Like I agree with that. This feels very heavy-handed though, in terms of like the author's opinion on stuff. And I think all of this book has been very heavy-handed of Lewis's opinion. Whereas
Oh
other
yeah.
books that I've read are not so like in your face about it. And I think I like that a little better when it's a little more subtle.
So I hear what you're saying, and there are definitely some books that are much more the what am I trying to say here? There are some books that don't, you say, beat you over the head with it. But I think that that's just us saying, you know what? I don't mind what this book is saying or not saying. And so their lack of saying is something I agree with. Right?
Well,
It only feels beating over the head if you don't like what's being said.
Well, I feel like with Elantris, I feel like that. Like there's definitely a lot of like religious undertones and like knowing Sanderson, it's like you can kind of pick up on that. But if you didn't
Right.
know who the author was, it wouldn't be as obvious, is I guess what
Sure.
I'm trying to say. Versus a book like this where it's like, I don't need to know anything about Lewis and it's very obvious what the story is saying and then the undertones of the
Mhm.
author's opinion.
Right.
So anyway.
Well, I think that was part of his goal too, is to make it a easier, I guess, story for children to understand about Christianity, right? Put
Yeah.
that in
Yes.
perspective, and that was what he was trying to achieve. And I think we would all here say that he managed to achieve that in some way, shape, or form, right? He created a story that was easier to, or a different way of understanding, right, for children. So
Yeah.
Well, in some ways, this is like the children's reaction to Aslan. You know, some of those children they hear Aslan and they're like, man, warm, fuzzy, this is awesome. And then, some of the children are like, I don't think so. I'm not really sure this is everything that I'm looking for. And in
Mm-hmm.
a certain way, right, we are each going through this because to me, it doesn't feel heavy handed because I think it's done really well and I think it's awesome, right? Um, which is a very different reaction than saying, oh, I can't stand this. Like, I felt a certain kind of way when reading his Dark Materials, because I thought that the author, Philip Pullman, he was not subtle about things, right? But that's kind of in a different direction. Whereas somebody else might read Philip Pullman and the Golden Compass series and be like, man, that guy did a masterful takedown of religion. I tell you what, it was incredible. Pitch perfect.
I guess for me, even if I agree with what someone's saying, I still don't like it to feel so forward in like the books, because then I feel like I'm being manipulated, kind of, where they're like interlacing like their opinions and writing about why what they're saying is correct. Even if I agree with what they're saying, I don't like it. It kind of makes me like kind of put a wall up and feel, like I said, I'm being manipulated. So now I want to be very hyper aware of everything that they're saying, versus if it's more subtle and they still have their themes or whatever it is that they're trying to convey, it's easier for me to take that in.
Chrissy, you've been silent. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know. On that last part, I feel like wouldn't you be more manipulated if you don't know what their like themes are and their messaging that they're trying to say? Because now it's like this is what C.S. Lewis is saying. You can take it or leave it. But I feel like whenever you read a story, you're like kind of internalizing themes and ideas without even realizing it. So I mean that's my thought to what you just said.
Well,
Please go ahead, Candy.
I was just gonna say, I feel like when it's more subtle, and maybe this is just me falling into being lured into the trap, but I feel like they present, like an author will present themes or topics. For example, with Elantris, there was a lot of different themes and topics that were presented, but it's not always 100% clear what is quote unquote like the right choice, or what's like the right thing. And so there's a little bit of critical thinking where you think about it yourself and you see this and that. Maybe I agree with it, maybe I don't. Whereas a book like this, it's very obvious. These are the good people. These are the bad people. And this is what you need to think based off of da 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 da. And I think that's kind of, that type of writing style makes me bristle.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's also just like the story that he's trying to tell, because he is coming from a more, I guess, like objective worldview and story, versus Elantris. Like there's a lot of gray area and it's like, what would the characters do? And they are dynamic. But since he is trying to kind of give a 1-for-1 for the gospel or different Bible stories, like there is a clear good and evil going on. So you do lose the nuance there in some ways, but it's just a different type of story.
I said this in an earlier episode, but this is the genre he's writing in. And we're used to fantasies subverting our expectations, because fantasies are essentially Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, right? Like it's very obvious who the good people and the bad people are in that story. And you might be a bad person and you can redeem yourself like the huntsman, right? But it's obvious that the mother is wicked, or Sleeping Beauty, or even Cinderella, right? Like all these stories, it's obvious. And since fantasy has come into, or modern fantasy has come into vogue, you could argue that it's Tolkien, right, who really kind of brought it in vogue for modern readers. Since then, we have had books that give us shades of gray, that give us I didn't mean to reference a book. I meant like just the term.
But not one of Bookalicious.
Not 50 Shades of Grey.
Not 50 Shades of Grey, yeah.
We're not going to do that book.
It's not next on the list?
Definitely
That's not one we want to recap in great detail.
You should recap. You should tell Mom you're going to recap it with her.
Oh, God.
Record her face.
You should do it as a Trojan horse, though. So tell her you're going to read a book about Grey, and then feel it later.
Gosh.
Like, I thought we were reading the picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah. No,
So
but
not
this
to
is my
get-
point, right?
Oh.
Like we are used to authors or cinematographers or directors or whoever subverting our expectations by producing these anti-heroes, these morally gray characters. And that is a feature of current day storytelling, but that's not the genre that Lewis is writing in or doing. So if you think about it, like this is in the same genre as Cinderella or Snow White. It's very the black and white nature. Well, that's just kind of what you came for.
And I was going to say, I was like, well, at least Harry Potter has like more nuance to it. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, no, if you're Slytherin, you're bad. And I always remember not
Yeah.
like liking that either. It's like but maybe that's just a characteristic of children's books where
Right.
it needs to be very clear for the child to understand what's going on.
And there's some nuance in the person of Snape, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. For the most part, it's very obvious who the good guys and the bad guys are. And but yes, I think there's a whole nother thing to talk about with
Well,
good and evil in Harry Potter, but
and just kind of like along those lines, for the average reader, you need to have a very clear understanding of like who's in what camp, right?
Mhm.
And we use Game of Thrones as an example. I watch a show, love the show because I was able to binge it, right? I watched it when like season 6 came out or whatever. That's when I started. So I was able to follow everything, right? And then I was like, you know what? Let me listen to the books. And I cannot follow the books to save my life. Like
they are so hard.
there's so many things going on here. I cannot casually listen to this book and understand what's happening, right? There's too many things going on. There's so much nuance. There's this guy's good here, he's bad there. They flip around, like, so and that's a total, like, to Sam's point, that's a totally different genre of storytelling, right?
Mhm.
You need to be, and for the average reader, for the average kid, you're not gonna be able to follow along with it. It's not gonna keep your attention. You're not gonna finish, you know. So it's just what it is, you know. So
Chrissy
take it.
found that out with Elantris on our first chapter or first time.
Already too much. I don't know if people read it without a 3-hour podcast every week.
And Elantris is like a dumbed down version from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, gosh, I would never make it.
No. Mm-mm. Okay, are you ready for chapter 15?
Do it.
All right, so this is the deeper magic from before the dawn of time. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so after beating Aslan and killing him, the witch and the minions go to the camp to kill everyone else. Susan and Lucy go to Aslan's dead body and sob until they have no more tears. They take off his muzzle, and then all of a sudden, rats cover all of Aslan's body. The girls think the rodents are going to gobble up Aslan, but it turns out they're shredding the cords. So now it's almost morning, and the girls walk to the hill and watch the sunrise. As the sun starts rising, the stone table breaks into 2 pieces, and Aslan's body is gone. Thinking it was grave robbers, the girls are deeply troubled, but it turns out that Aslan is alive. Turns out that the witch didn't know about even deeper magic, which says if you kill an innocent person in place of a guilty person, then the table will crack and the dead person will come back to life. The girls and Aslan chase each other around the broken table until Aslan is ready to go save everyone who is fighting. The girls jump on Aslan's back, and he leaps very quickly towards the witch's home. And that is the end of chapter 15. So my first question on this is it really a sacrifice if you know that you are going to be brought back? Was this a great big sacrifice if Aslan knew about this deeper magic?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how much he liked people crushing his face and making fun of him and going through the torture of dying a slow death.
Sure. But I just got electrolysis on my face, and that's getting little needles and electricity like put into your face, and it really hurts. It's very painful, but sometimes you're willing to go through a little pain, and it's okay. I just don't know if that was like a whole big, huge sacrifice if you know you're going to come back to life and be better than ever. What do you think? No?
Oh, okay. I mean, does it truly matter, right? If it's, like, so you're saying like it cheapens the reality?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Like,
hear
like in
you.
the story where it's like, they're like, oh my God, like he went and he saved me. But then it's like, he's like, I had a superpower and I could fly the whole time. And it's like, that's great. It's still a sacrifice of sorts, but it doesn't feel as like complete as if he like stayed dead. Kind of cheapens it, like you said.
Well, Aslan is not a mortal being, right? When you get into the other books, Aslan was there from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's an immortal being. So for an immortal being, death is not a thing anyways. They don't ever experience it. They already know that they're immortal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is no way that he could say, let me sacrifice my life and be permanently dead. It doesn't exist in his reality.
Oh, so you're saying the biggest sacrifice that he could give is what he did.
I would argue that's a true statement. Yeah.
Mm.
That's the most he can sacrifice, because in his reality, in his life, he's an immortal being, right?
I think
Well,
that's a
I
really
mean,
good point.
the whole thing, him dying shows that he wasn't immortal.
Nobody came back.
He did come back, right? But he wasn't immortal.
Okay, well, maybe I'm using the term a little bit wrong. I'm not as precise.
Oh my gosh.
He lived since the beginning. Right? He was there when creation happened, right? We learned that
Yeah.
right? So he's been there for millennia, right? He's immortal in the sense that he's been there from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And he died. Yes, he died, but he also came back to life. So I would argue that's also an argument for immortality, right? But yes, he did. His life died, and then he was resurrected. So, I mean, I don't think it cheapens the sacrifice. He still goes through the pain. It wasn't like he turned on a switch and was like, "All right, I don't feel anything, guys.
Mhm.
Just do whatever you
Mhm.
want. I'll come back in a couple days and we'll talk." Right. So, I don't think it cheapens it, but I think I think it is the most severe sacrifice he could make. If you want to say, if a sacrifice in your mind is what is the most you can hurt yourself, wound yourself, out, give and for pain, whatever, I would argue that he did that. Now, whether the witch knew that he was going to come back to life or not, that's a totally different subject, right?
So I
He didn't.
Well,
really,
she didn't, right? They say that's in the text of the
Right,
book.
she
She
didn't.
didn't know.
Right, but I'm saying whether she knew that was going to happen or not in that whole process, I don't think that changes the sacrifice that he did.
right. And I really like how you explained that, Jordan. I think I agree with you now. My next question though is that do you think it makes sense that Aslan was so coy about this whole plan and keeping everyone else in the dark, like Susan and Lucy? I mean, he's kind of being a little dramatic, right? If he knew he was going to come back. Like, why didn't he just tell everyone?
I think it goes back to well, I mean, part of it is it's the climax of the book, right? So the author, he doesn't want to reveal that before it happens. So like what Sam
Mhm.
said, it's better to show than to explain in some
Mhm.
sense. But on a more logical level, what I said before, right? If he tells these little kids from the age of probably 5 to 13, right? There's 4 of them. They're
Mhm.
already prone to run off, do whatever they want to do, right? And he tells them, "Hey guys, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, but don't worry, I'm gonna come back to life. It's gonna be okay," right? What trouble are those kids gonna get themselves into by trying to make the story play out differently, right?
Mhm. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But I think it's also interesting because I don't think Aslan ever tells anybody, does he? That
No.
No.
he doesn't. And so maybe that's kind of part of it is like it's a willing sacrifice and there's no part of it that's for like honor or fame or anything. Not that Aslan needs that since he's already kind of like the ruler, but maybe that could be part of it.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes too, when you have a plan that is going to work, and the only thing that's going to spoil it is if the enemy is going to find out before they do it, right? You want to tell as few people as possible, right? That's strategy right there.
That's true.
Because if the witch finds out, she's going to be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! You didn't. I'm not going to take your life anymore. You got to give me someone else. Your life's no longer acceptable as a payment for Edmund's."
Yes, and
Or
I think the underlying theme with all of this is that everyone aside from Aslan and the witch are completely incompetent. So I
Well,
don't know that I don't know that anyone can be trusted with anything.
right. Well, and they're both more or less immortal beings, right? They were both there in the beginning. right?
Right. And everyone else is an Oompa Loompa. Like they cannot be given secrets. The
Right.
beaver was given a secret and he immediately told the enemy in great detail.
Can't trust these people.
No. Okay, next question. So after Aslan gets revived, he's like stretching out his bones and he's feeling a millennium younger. I
Yeah.
thought it was a little odd that the girls in Aslan are just like playing games and having this grand old time whilst, like, if we were to pan over to Peter and Edmund, they're fighting for their lives and they're just like taking a little break.
But I think this is part of how Lewis sees the world, right? That the joy of the resurrection overcomes the darkest moment of any trial.
Mm.
But is Candy saying that there's joy, like a celebration at the expense of all the people dying in the war going on? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like they're like just taking a little break here, but it's like there are important things that they need to be doing and they're wasting time.
Mm.
Well, to quote Tolkien, a wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means. And that's what happens. There's a certain time. It's like I'm gonna show up to the battle. Don't worry, but it's gonna be on his time.
He also knows that everybody's going to get healed and all of that too.
That's true.
I mean, life, if you don't take moments for joy, the dude was dead. All hope was lost, and then he came back to life.
Yeah.
I think we can forgive them for having a good time.
Well, I guess that's true.
And it's Narnia time. So like their 2 hours of rejoicing really could have been just 2 minutes of battle time. Like
Yeah.
Maybe Aslan has like a time bubble around him and he's like, time's gonna
Winding back.
go, yeah, at like 0.01x.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more thoughts on chapter 15?
I had a thought. This is where my one argument against the gender roles, there definitely are gender roles here, but the mice in this chapter reminded me of the role thing because like even the mice had a purpose and like a big purpose in Aslan's come back to life. And I thought that was really nice. And like, maybe not every animal would want to chew through the ropes, but the mice did it. And it was very important that they did it. And it kind of reminded me of like the women had their own role. And they like walked with Aslan and saw him die. But then they also got to rejoice with him. And like they had their own special role. And the boys didn't get to do it.
I think it is perfectly fine for everyone to have a specific role in life. I think where it gives me the heebie-jeebies is when you don't have any agency over what that role might be. And if you would like to do a different role, like when Lucy said, I think I'm brave enough to fight, she would like to contribute in that way. And they're told, no,
You're only 6 years old. You're not fighting in this war, little.
That's true. Yeah, her age wasn't the factor.
Right. He could have said, you're too little. You're too little. But he said, no, you're a woman. And I think it's just because from what I'm getting from Lewis reading this book is that he's very much black or white, yes or no. Everyone fits in a box. And he really likes people to just stay there.
Well, I think you're taking that to an extreme. Maybe that's how his worldview is. I'm not sure, but there's traditional roles, right? And there's a reason why men are traditionally warriors and women aren't. Because if you had a tribe of women versus a tribe of men throwing stones at each other, chances are the men are going to win 99 times out of 100. Because men are naturally bigger, stronger people, right? So they're naturally have more physical. I'm telling you, like, you take the averages, right? Take the average male, the average female. The average male is going to be bigger and stronger than the average female.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean every male is. It doesn't mean every female is smaller. Just that's the averages. So
yeah,
that's that's why you have an army of men rather than an army of women. Traditionally.
Yeah. I wonder if there were, and I don't know this, but I wonder if there were any groups, like very primitive groups, where the women did more fighting or equal fighting.
I'm
like
sure
in
there
Sparta.
So there was, so part of the problem with women fighting for a civilization as a whole is that only women can bear children.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have a population in which the replacement rate is less than 2, that civilization falls apart because you need to have more than that in order to keep things going.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think it's out of the question, right, to say, yeah, we need you to not go because we need this population to keep going.
Right.
And also, if you're pregnant, you're probably not as good a fighter.
No, you're definitely not. If you're pregnant, you get a pass. But I think that's a really good point, Chrissy, where you're talking about how even the mice, the lowly little mice, they all have a role in the story and they're all very important.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're equally important, but they all seem very important.
Yeah.
Well, and they're considered dumb mice, non-talking mice.
Any more
Yeah.
thoughts,
And people
Chrissy?
seem content. Well, my only thought too is like kind of with our conversation, like people seem content with their roles. Like even though Lucy couldn't do the thing she wanted to do, she was like, all right, well, Aslan said, so I'll do it.
Mhm.
You know, and she's not like upset about it. That's just interesting too.
Well, and their role, and we probably argue that Aslan knows the future in this world, since he's Jesus, right? But their role wasn't to be on the battlefield while Aslan was resurrected. Their role was to be with Aslan. So you could even make that argument of, Aslan didn't want them in the battle because he knew that they were going to arrive to the battle with Aslan.
They didn't really do anything in his resurrection, except, I guess, offer emotional support. Maybe that's all he needed.
Well, they witnessed the event, right? They're witnesses to what happened.
Going back to the story of Jesus, it's the women who find Jesus, not the men, not the male disciples. It's the female disciples,
Right.
which you can talk about the Bible or Christianity subjecting women, and there's definitely a history of that. I don't think it was right, but throughout the Old Testament, not the Old Testament, the New Testament, the role of women is radical for the situation. The last thing you would do if you were trying to spread a religion is have the people who find Jesus first after the resurrection be women.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, some people say, well, that's another example of the historicity, because you wouldn't include that as a fact if you didn't have to. But I think Lewis having the girls there is also playing that too. So
how does the reader know what happens? Because everything in the story is first person, right? Is there any real storytelling in this book that happens that's not first person?
There's a narrator. He pops in.
There's a narrator.
He says, "Well, return to this."
It's not first person. Nobody says I in terms of like that. There's a narrator telling you the story.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't use that right. The storytelling all happens around the kids. Is there any part of the story where there's not one of the children involved?
No.
Right. So there is no, what the kids know.
There is.
Right.
You can make an argument that the only time that Lucy isn't in the picture is when you have a couple of Edmund standalones. But otherwise, Lucy's in every other chapter.
Oh, so you're saying this could be Lucy's narration, perhaps?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just making the point that the only time it's not Lucy is when it's Edmund standalone.
I know. Edmund and Lucy kind of seem like the most important players.
For sure.
Even though it kind of seems like everyone in Narnia would give Susan and Peter more credence because they're older.
Yeah. No, it's the younger kids that are more important.
That are allowed to come back also. Which, spoiler alert, I guess. Is that revealed in this book or is that another book? I forget.
Another book. They say at the end.
Next book.
Yeah, they say in the end that you can come back, but only if they call you.
Invite
basically.
only.
Yeah.
Invite
No,
only.
because all 4 of them are back for the next book.
Okay,
Yeah,
chapter
the-
16. Oh, did you have another comment, Jordan?
No, it's at the end of that book where only Lucy and Edmund are allowed to come back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. All right,
Okay.
next chapter.
Chapter 16, what about the statue? So this is a very short chapter. Aslan, Lucy, and Susan, they go back to the witch's castle. Aslan breathes on the statues and they all come back to life. So now Aslan has a whole new team of recruits and they all leave the witch's castle. And there was a giant who was just revived and he busts open the gate of the witch's castle. After he's done all that hard work, he asks if anyone has a handkerchief, and Lucy hands her her own handkerchief, and it's about the size of a cotton ball in relation. So he actually picks up Lucy thinking she's the handkerchief. I thought that was a funny little anecdote there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So the reinforcements, all of Aslan and the newly revived people, they show up to the fight and they see Peter and Edmund fighting against the witch's crew. And the witch's crew has a very large upper hand and it's not looking good, but Aslan shows up with his reinforcements and that changes the tides of the war. Aslan and the witch have a rumble tumble and he pins her to the ground and that's where she dies. I don't really see where she dies exactly in the book, but oh, it says she picked up her skirts and ran for her life. So I don't know that he actually kills her. She just runs away, I guess.
The next chapter, it starts in the first paragraph saying they saw that the witch was dead. And then her soldiers left or like fled or gave themselves up.
Where does it say that?
So on the first paragraph of chapter 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she does
Yep.
die, but technically
She does die.
wait, not in this chapter.
Okay. Okay, any thoughts on the statues?
This is, I think, Lewis again. There's narrative purpose to it, right? But he is again playing out Christ's journey, and so, so the Apostles' Creed talks about Christ's descent into hell to rescue captives, and this is a close parallel to that.
I mean, it's really
So-
amazing how Lewis put all this into one narrative. Like he really put a lot of good stuff in there.
That what it is, Tim,
It's a
or is
good
it
story. What?
Is that what the oh sorry, Oliver just jumped. Is it that or is it the resurrection that it resembles?
Hmm.
Well, what I'm saying, going to the witch's place, that is the connection there is Christ's descent into hell and freeing the captives.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying is the next connection point that Lewis is making with Jesus. Because he goes into the devil's stronghold, the witch's stronghold, and takes all the captives back and frees them.
Now, these captives, they were all people that had aligned themselves to the witch at some point, and then she turned on them.
Not
that how you-
necessarily.
You
No,
could just be captured.
I think most of all these people then go to fight the witch. They're all her enemies.
Right, but like Mr. Tumnus got turned to stone because
He was her enemy.
No, but he was her paid employee.
But then he became her enemy.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Did you have to be a
I don't
paid
think you have to be
employee?
I don't think you have to be spotless. I mean, she turned the fox and the squirrel at the dinner party into stone because
Yeah,
right? It's just anybody who was
bothered her.
who bothered her.
I wonder if Aslan went by and fixed up the squirrel in their dinner party. I'm sure he did on his way back, maybe.
At
Gave
some
a
point.
big breath at the end.
So I think in the movie they all get teleported.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
That's in the movie, I think.
So one thing that I highlighted is that because there was that lion that Edmund had graffitied on,
Mm-hmm.
and when he was revived, he had like a feeling of self-importance because he's like, I'm a lion, like Aslan's a lion. Like that did you hear that? He was talking about us. He's like, me and him, we're lions, we're the best. And then he kept saying that, and then it says, at least he went on saying this till Aslan had loaded him up with 3 dwarves, 1 dryad, 2 rabbits, and a hedgehog, like carrying people. But I did think it was interesting that there are more lions than just Aslan.
So this is, I think, going into a little bit of Lewis's view of humanity, and that Jesus came and took on human flesh. So, right, like this is how we should react to Jesus becoming human. Whoa, look at what, he did, and that kind of reaction, like that we are human just as Christ is human. That's how I took it.
What do you think about him having to carry 3 dwarfs, 1 dryad, 2 rabbits, and a hedgehog?
He's probably getting annoying.
He's probably, yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay, any more thoughts here?
I didn't realize how short all the fight scenes were. Because I know you guys had mentioned that earlier. Then I was just reading it and I was like, oh yeah, it's done in like a page.
Like a sentence.
Yeah. Like there really is. We didn't even know she died. That's how little there is.
Okay, so chapter 17, this is the last chapter of the book. And it starts off picking up immediately with the battle being finished. So Aslan and company make quick work of the witch's army. And once they saw that Aslan was still alive, a lot of the witch's armies just like gave up. They said, whoops, my bad. We're sorry. Peter gives Edmund credit for their victory because Edmund was the one who realized that if he knocked the witch's wand out of her hand, she wouldn't be able to turn people into stone. And all these other people before just kept charging directly at her, getting turned into stone. So it seems that Peter might be the cleverest boy, at least in Narnia. Edmund is, I guess he's like dead or near death. And Lucy goes to heal Edmund with her cordial. And while she's waiting to make sure that Edmund is okay, Aslan gets frustrated and asks why more people have to die for Edmund. Thought that was kind of rude. But Edmund, but Lucy says okay, and she goes to heal everyone else. Once Edmund's healed, he's also cured of his teenage angst, and the siblings become crowned kings and queens. During the coronation ceremony, Aslan disappears, and the beaver says he doesn't like being tied down and has other countries to attend to. During the reign, the siblings stamp out all the remnants of the White Witch's army, and they made good laws. The laws: no cutting down trees unless needed. Don't send young dwarfs or satyrs to school. Stop being busybodies, and drive out the giants. All the siblings grow up to be very hot and attractive. Susan has many people who ask her to marry them. One day, Mr. Tumnus tells the siblings that there's a white stag who will give you a wish if you catch him. So then the siblings go to chase the stag, and they follow him deep into a forest, and then they find a metal tree with a lantern on top of it. The children have seemingly forgot about their lives in England, and the lamppost brings them deja vu. Then they start remembering their lives in England and end up tumbling out of the wardrobe, and they tell the professor about the missing coats and say sorry. The professor tells them to not try to get to Narnia through the wardrobe, that it will call to them when it's time. He also says not to tell anyone about Narnia, even amongst themselves, to only talk to people who have had similar adventures. And they wonder how they will know, and the professor says they will have a look about them, and once again criticizes the English schooling system. And that is the end of the book.
So one thing that I read Planet Narnia, and I've mentioned that before, comparing like all the medieval understanding to the different gods or planets. And the author made this point that I thought was incredible, and I never noticed it before. And he said that the emotional climax of the book The entire payoff is in this chapter. And it's the paragraph that starts with, "That night they slept where they were." And so a little bit later on in the paragraph, it reads, "The castle of Cair Paravel on its little hill towered up above them. Before them were the sands with rocks and with little pools of salt water and seaweed and the smell of the sea and long miles of bluish green waves breaking for ever and ever on the beach. And oh, the cry of the seagulls. Have you heard it? Can you remember?" And that question where the narrator suddenly turns it back to you is his argument. This is the emotional resonance of the entire book and everything that it's been building up towards. Have you seen it? Can you remember?
Are you talking? I guess maybe I don't see it. What are we seeing? That the Pevensie children have a home now?
No. The author is talking to you. He suddenly switches from talking about the story and he starts talking to you, the reader. Have you heard it? Can you remember? And that there is this longing within us for the castle at the edge of the sea with the waves breaking forever and ever on the beach.
Mm.
That makes sense. I'm reading it was one of C.S. Lewis's essays. I think it was The Weight of Glory, but he talks about this, which makes a lot of sense now that you pointed it out. But that if we have a desire for something outside of this world, then it means that we were made for something outside of this world. That we all have this desire for like heaven and goodness. And that makes a lot of sense now that you've pointed it out here.
Yeah. This is, in a sense, the entire book has built to this single moment where you are looking at the castle Cair Paravel and the waves crashing on the beach forever and ever. The cry of the seagulls. Have you heard it? Can you remember? It's so out of place for the rest of the book, right?
Yeah.
And so I never thought about it before until this person in the book, Planet Narnia, makes the case that this is the emotional climax of the book. Everything that Lewis has been doing emotionally to you in the story has led you to this point. The longing for the castle, the longing for the sea, the longing for the witch to be defeated and to essentially be in paradise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very interesting. I'm glad you highlighted that because like Chrissy said, I read that and I was just like, okay, like whatever. But now that you're pointing it out, it does seem to kind of like wrap up the story very nicely.
Yeah.
So I had a few thoughts. First one on the laws. Why do you think Lewis included to not send dwarves or satyrs to school? Why was that included?
Wants to go to school.
Doesn't like the school system.
I liked all the other ones, especially the no more busybodies. I don't know how the kings and queens of Narnia were able to stamp that out, but they did.
But like, if you're a kid reading this and you hear, "Oh, there's no more school," I mean, this is just incredible to you.
That's paradise as a kid, right? No more school. Trying to describe paradise.
That's true. Now, my other question is, so there are other humans in the world, right? Because
do they come up in this book though?
Not in this book we see.
Someone's propositioning Susan. And that's why I thought she got married. I thought all these I thought
be a person.
These people...
It could just be a stag or something. We don't know.
Yeah, I guess I had always taken it that they had gotten married and had kids or something, and that's how there were humans in Narnia later on.
Susan doesn't get married in another book or like engaged or something.
There are people who want to engage her that when they travel to to the Collarman
Oh,
and the Tisrock wants to marry Susan.
okay, but they don't. She doesn't say yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
So why is it that they forget about England when they're in Narnia?
Wait, one more thing on the marriage thing. This
Oh.
is where the gender thing, I was like, what? This could have been Lewis could have said anything else about Lucy and Susan. He only said that other people wanted to marry them. Which, to be fair, he didn't really say anything about Peter either. Peter's just magnificent. But Edmund is like a good judge and councilman or something. Right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Did that bother you, Candy?
I mean, we're in the last page. I mean, if he changed it up now, I would be like, what's happening?
That's fair. But anyways, continue.
I was just wondering, why do they forget about England when they're in Narnia? They just become assimilated. I know, but like, even you can remember back when you were 7 or 8, and surely you would remember if it was a different world.
I don't know. Did you as the reader remember about England, or did you forget about it at this point?
Well,
I mean,
even
they
if I
lived a
had
lifetime.
forgotten. Yeah, but you can remember like your childhood house.
Yeah, but it's so different. It seems more like a dream. And a forgotten
Yeah.
dream because they have been so busy living an entire life.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it is strange though that they never do, it seems, talk about their family back home, who I imagine they just think they like abandoned their parents. Like that, I feel like would be, wouldn't you talk about that sometimes? Like maybe we should go write a letter or something. Let them know where we
Right.
are.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure they probably thought about it at some point.
Not
I
at
don't
the
think
end
they
because they
did.
forgot about it.
Well, they forget about it by the time we come into the story.
They say Aslan's my dad now.
Father Aslan.
Yeah.
I mean, would you on purpose leave a place where you are a king or queen to go see, your mom?
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'll still be queen.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this could just be, you could chalk it up to the magic of Narnia, right? It makes
Yeah.
you forget the other land, the other world. And the same thing happens in reverse, right? They go back to
Mhm.
England, and then don't they forget about Narnia after?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
But
Susan does eventually.
Right. So I mean,
I
that's and Edmund and Lucy will too once they become too old to go back to Narnia. Like, it's one of those things, I think, where it's
Well, this goes into the last battle. Is that for Peter, Edmund, and Lucy, Narnia is always a real place. For Susan, it becomes that make-believe land that they had when they were kids.
Mm.
Well, I think they probably forget about Narnia because the professor says, don't ever tell anyone about this. Don't even talk about it amongst yourselves, which is such odd advice. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know why the professor says that.
Because people will think you're crazy.
But even if you talk about it amongst yourselves.
I don't know. I don't know why I said that.
They just didn't want Susan to remember.
maybe this is all just one big practical joke that they're playing on Susan.
Poor Susan.
It does, again, to me, feel a little bit like they're having the shared delusion, though, because the professor tells them, because they're like, he's like, only talk about it if someone else has had a similar experience. And they say, how will we know? And then the professor says they will have a look about them. And then once again, criticizes the English schooling system, which that's exactly what the beaver said. He said, I knew Edmund had a look about him, that he was evil.
Yeah. Well, that's
And so,
because good and evil is obvious, Candy.
well, yes, especially in Narnia. But like, if you're taking the whole book, and we'll just put the religious allegory to the side, for a second. On their way into Narnia, they're pointing out, oh, look at this, look at these animals, look at those animals, and they're seeing all these different animals. Then they have this wardrobe thing, and then you have like these anthropomorphized animals, and the few other characters in the book, I wonder if we could make connections to, oh, the beaver was probably like the professor, and the witch was probably Mrs. McCready, and
Like the Wizard of Oz.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think that the idea that it's a shared delusion makes any sense. I think Occam's razor removes that possibility.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all I had. Any closing comments?
Isn't there normally stuff you talk about after the book's over?
Oh,
Like
okay. Yes, we
standard
do
questions?
ask.
Oh,
Well, we've only
yes.
finished one, Sam, so we're not very in practice of this. Okay, so some of the things we like to talk about at the end of the book are if you could ask the author any question, what would it be? What's your rating of the book? Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Those are, yeah, let's start there. All right, so questions. What would you ask C.S. Lewis? Is it a shared delusion?
I don't have any questions offhand. Sam, I think, has a whole list of questions, probably.
I'm trying to think what question I could ask that he would answer. Right?
We're
Assume he'll
assuming
answer
that he would
any.
answer. Yeah.
No, but if I were to ask a question about like what's happening in Narnia, or asking like the how does time work, and when you switch back and forth, is there like a thing to it? I kind of think like he would just kind of be like, whatever.
From what I've read, I forget where I heard this, but C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were like, in their group together and they were besties. And apparently they'd like share their writing with each other. And Tolkien was like, this doesn't make any sense. You don't have a logical like consistency in your world. And he's like, doesn't matter. It's for kids.
Exactly. Like I feel like those are the answers I'm gonna get. Right. So what would I ask him? Maybe a question I would ask is, if you were to write an eighth, well, maybe the question would be, is it based on the planets? That's a really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
They said each book was based on a planet.
That's Planet Narnia, the guy who wrote it. That's his contention.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a very interesting read.
Okay.
I think I would ask if his personal views are as black and white as the book is. Like women have their specific roles, the beavers and the things like that. I think I would wonder about that. Or if it was a shared delusion. Since Jordan didn't ask a question, that'd be my second one.
I would ask if Turkish delight is a real thing, and where can I get some?
Okay, it is a real thing. It's a Googleable answer, and they're not very good.
You need some of the witch's cocaine.
Is it a real thing now because it was in the book, or was it a real thing then at the time?
It's one of the oldest confections ever.
What's it made of? Is it like sugary kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a gel of starch and sugar. And then it's flavored with rose water, mastic gum, orange, or lemon.
The word mastic gum or whatever you said is a turnoff for me.
And it looks like it's an Irish dish.
No, I don't think it's Irish. I think it's Turkish.
It says
Yeah, but just like French fries are from France, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Irish are like, this is what we think of you, Turks.
Maybe.
Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. I guess there's this particular type. Fry's Turkish Delight was launched in the UK in 1914 by some chocolate manufacturer. And then I guess that was like a very popular one. And then they merged with Cadbury.
Interesting. That does look interesting.
Okay, it says it's a fragrant jelly candy native to Turkey.
Oh.
Turkish.
Okay, Wikipedia says the origin of Turkish delight is not precisely known, but the confection is known to have been produced in Turkey and Iran since the late 18th century. So yeah, it's probably from there.
Very interesting.
Ottoman cuisine adapted by many Middle Eastern and Baltic countries.
Maybe if we had it from like a proper place, it would taste good. But maybe
Yeah.
the ones they make in America are just not that great.
Okay. So are those all the questions?
Oh no, I didn't ask
Yeah.
my question. Okay.
Oh, what's your
I
question?
thought of one and all the time. Okay, so I'd have two. One is so he wrote it for his goddaughter Lucy, but I'd ask
Mhm.
if the other children are loosely based off of anyone else he knew. Or I don't know. And was Lucy based off his goddaughter? And then I'd also ask him, has he seen was it the 90s rendition, the BBC rendition of Chronicles of Narnia? And what did he think of it?
He
would
probably
say,
hasn't
no,
seen
I
it.
was
Rolling in
dead.
his grave.
We would ask, if you saw it, what would you think? You make
Oh, that-
him watch it. You
That
summon
would-
him from beyond the grave and you force him to watch that.
I would love to know his favorite adaptation of his work. That'd be
Oh.
Did he see any? Were there any done in his lifetime?
No.
He
He died in
didn't- he didn't live very
1963. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to know that. Have a movie marathon with C.S. Lewis.
Mm.
that just sounds fun.
Okay, so what are we going to rate the book?
10 scale. 1 to 10.
We did 1 out of 5 last
Oh,
time.
we did 1 to 5? Okay, 1 to 5.
Gotta be consistent, otherwise how are you gonna measure?
Just divide by 2. Jordan taught me how to add.
All right, Chrissy, you start.
Well, no, we all know a 3 out of 5 is way worse than a 6 out of 10.
That's true.
If you see a 6 out of 10 rating, you'll be like, no, I'm not even gonna get closer. But 3 out of 5, you're like, yeah, it's probably mediocre.
Probably mediocre.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, what's my rating? I don't know. I really love this book. And I think it's a great kids book. 4.85. Feel like I need
So you gave Elantris 4.5. So you
Oh,
would
I
give
did?
this-
Oh. Maybe I'll just give my 5 to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe Bed. Such a good one. It's a classic.
You give it a 5.
Sure. I'll give it
Okay.
a 5.
All right. Jordan, what do you give it?
I'm not good at rating things. I would give it probably a 4. I think for what it is, it's a good read. Pretty short, good to keep kids entertained. It's missing that element of like continuity to make sense of the world, which I know it doesn't go out to do that. But when you're talking about a fantasy story that takes place in England, which is obviously here on Earth, you would think that you want some kind of, even if it's like a loose explanation, something other than this is a magic wardrobe, right?
Yeah.
That brings you to this magical place. So I know that's not what he was trying to go out and do, but
That's okay. It's
For
based
me-
on what you think about it, you know?
for me, I would have liked something, even if it wasn't, it doesn't have to be rock solid because there is no rock solid thing you can come up with anyways. Just some way to tie in some kind of logical aspect to how did this even happen, you know?
Okay, Sam?
I think it's a perfect children's book for a young elementary school kid. If you can read chapter books, right? So I give it a 5 out of 5 as a perfect children's book.
I guess I'll be the dissenter. I would give it a 3 to a 3.5. I think it's a good story. It's easy to follow. All of that's really good. There's just, I think to Jordan's point, there's a lot of like explanation lacking that I would have liked to have seen, even in a children's book. And it's hard because I'm trying to remember back to when I was a kid reading books, but I feel like some of my favorite books when I was younger had just a little bit more meat to it. I felt like there was just too much plot, and not a lot of explaining certain things. So I think I'm going to sit in the 3.5.
Which doubles to a 7. Pretty good.
7 7's pretty good. It's a 3.5.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, well, this is it. This has been a fun ride. Thank you guys so much for joining and helping out. I know it's not easy taking time out of your week to talk about books, but I've really enjoyed this.
And we'll see you in February for our short story.
Yeah.
So, Candy, are we going to let Chrissy continue on our podcast?
Why is Sam talking like he's making decisions over here?
Well,
You have been AWOL the last month.
What?
I know. The owner, Jordan, has been very dissatisfied with the Bookalicious results.
I know. I only check in every once in a while, but what I'm seeing here, guys, it's not cutting the mustard here.
I think what this tells us is since Bookalicious took a turn when I left, is you need me.
You're the talent. Yeah, Sam, we're not interesting enough, you and me.
I never said anything about being interesting.
I guess you're consistent. Well, if you would like to join us for lessons in chemistry, the book's really turned around in the final hour.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So
it's gotten happy again. I'm not sad to read it anymore.
yeah.
I'm good.
Wow. Okay. Well,
If you
This
guys
is
have
it.
recommendations for other books.
yeah. Let us know.
Are you not going through
Maybe-
the whole Narnia series?
No.
It wasn't our plan,
No.
but maybe
We're-
whenever we need a little one.
We're gonna do The Housemaid, which is like a murder mystery book. So if you guys want to join along on that one, we'll be doing that probably.
Is that the next one you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
You should do a Harry Potter book.
I was just
I've
gonna say,
never
like, if you
finished.
want if we want to build up the viewer base, you gotta pick a book that like millions of people have read, and that just might accidentally stumble upon searching Harry Potter and be like, I want more Harry Potter stuff.
We could have
I
some
don't know.
good commentary, I think. That would just be the rest of our life. This would turn into a Harry Potter podcast. Unless
I'm
we're
not
only
saying
doing one
doing
book.
every Harry Potter book. I'm just pick one and do one.
Oh, just one.
We
That
could
was my
do,
suggestion.
if we wanted to do the 2 a weeks again, we
No.
could do Harry Potter, but that was really hard on us.
Well, we would just need to stock it up. What we were doing was week to week, and that was really hard. If we had
That
a
was really hard.
stockpile, it'd be fine. But yeah, at this moment, we cannot. You leaving?
Okay,
Yeah, I'm leaving.
bye. Well,
Bye.
we'll plot more
Bye.
later. Love
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
guys.
Love you. Thanks for
You.
joining. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bookalicious. If you like this discussion, please rate or subscribe to our channel to help other book lovers find this content as well. If you have any questions or suggestions for future books, we'd love to hear from you at bookalicious.pod@gmail.com. As always, thanks for joining our club.